So today with us on Legend Edition of Stool Talk, we have with us a legend. This player right here, many people know, many people have seen, many people have felt the heartbreak of his team putting their team out. You know, he's a great player. Shoot, man, I'm just so thankful to have him on my platform today. Now he's entering the coaching realm. He's allowing his gifts, his talents, his knowledge of the game to be passed on. Today we have with us the one, the only, Mr. Neshaun Coleman. How you doing today?
Doing fantastic, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Looking back at your playing days, what's your most memorable moment? Was it at St. John's? Was it at Ohio State? Was it even at Robinson?
Oh man, I've had so many memorable moments. I think my biggest memorable moment was probably moving to Toledo because I'm actually not from Toledo. I'm from Racine, Wisconsin. Grew up there till I was 12. All my family's still there. So my father had moved to Toledo, and I had that summer. I went to Seattle, Washington for nationals, for AAU nationals, and then I went to Puerto Rico and played in the Junior Pan American Games. So I moved to Toledo, and it was a big rumor that started that they got a guy at Nathan Hale that was from Puerto Rico. So it's just crazy how things go full circle and how things get twisted up. But I wasn't from Puerto Rico. I'm from a small town in Wisconsin. So my biggest moment was probably moving and then just getting the opportunity to flourish in a bigger city because the city that I'm from is small, but we come from a town full of basketball players.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever think or did you ever know the impact that your legacy left on? Because I remember my first day at Robinson coming in from Nathan Hill. We come in to the left, your picture on there dunking, and we like, man, who is this? He dunking, you know. So then that's when we get to hear the stories and we get to hear about your talent and how much of a great student you was too as well. Did you have any idea the impact that it would leave on?
Man, I had no clue. I had no clue. And when I tell you that I just did everything for the love of it, not even thinking about a legacy or who I would be impacting or how it would open doors from me going from Nathan Hill to Robinson to St. John's. Like I had no idea, no clue. I just was playing basketball and going to school. That was it. That's all I was doing.
Yeah, you cost my Bulldogs a couple city champions. It was bittersweet, but yeah, yeah,
And you
definitely.
know what? And it's crazy because everybody thinks that I chose to go to St. John's. And my first choice was always to go to Scott. You know what I'm saying? And it was a situation where my dad and I went to open house and we went to open house at Scott and we're walking through. And as soon as we get to a classroom, I don't even know the teacher's name. I couldn't tell you. But we introduced ourselves and my dad introduced and he said who he was. And the first question the teacher asked was, is your son disciplined? And my dad got offended. He was like, yeah, my son's disciplined. And all of, after that, the guy's like demeanor kind of softened. We talked and then we went through the tour. And when we walked out, my dad was like, you're not going here. So I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like all my dudes is going here. We about to wreck the city. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you're not going here. I said, why? He said, if the first thing someone asks is if you have discipline, that means there's distractions in class. And he was like, you know what my rule is. So I put my head down and I left. Like it was a done deal after that. I was like, he already said it. It was a done deal. I knew school came first. And he could care less about basketball. He wanted to make sure that I had the best education possible. So then it was my mom. I lived across the street from St. Francis. So I was in the Young Scholars Program in the 6th grade. So I got a full academic scholarship to Ohio State in the Young Scholars Program. So with being in that program, you couldn't pay for school because it was for inner city youth that were like lower income.
Yeah.
So we called St. Francis, see if they gave out any type of financial aid or scholarships. The secretary answered the phone and said, my mom asked, and she was like, no, we don't give out scholarships, and hung up the phone. So now my mom is pissed. Like she's upset. She's like, you know what? I can't believe this woman had the audacity to treat me like this. So it was the Northwest coordinator for Young Scholars Program. His name was Stan Calhoun. So we contacted St. John's, and the rest is history. We contacted St. John's. I had a high GPA, 3.9 GPA. So they ended up finding some financial aid for me to end up going to St. John's with doing work study and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
that's how it went, man.
Yeah. And it's
You're
a
the first
two
person
part
I told that story to, because I
for
haven't. I
real.
told that. Yeah, you're the first person I've actually told
Oh,
on a podcast or in an interview about how I actually got to St. John's.
wow. Wow. That's amazing. This is a two-part question.
Okay.
With you going to St. John's, you already, having good grades, but how was the adjustment with grades and how do you allow your players to know and to help them? And even the coaching aspect, being that you was under the great coach Heinz, so how do you take what he have taught and different things with your coaching style?
For the first part, I think all of it is discipline. You can adjust to anything if you have the discipline to be able to sit down and prepare. And that's all St. John's was when it came academically. It was preparing. It was making sure you set the time to be able to study. It was a couple of times I didn't study and I had to cram, and it was the worst time of my life where I'm having to cram for an exam or cram for a test. So if you properly prepared academically, you can do well at St. John's. So, and what would say the second part of that question again?
How do your coaching philosophies, what have you learned from Coach Heinz that you implement to your coaching style to your players?
You know what? The one thing he had that I have to grow into having is patience. He had a lot of patience with me as a freshman. Starting, he explained, he did a lot of teaching. When I started coaching, I was under the expectation that everybody approached the game and played the game at a high level like I did. So it took me probably I would say about 5 years for me to really understand that the young men that I were coaching, they were not at the level that I was at yet. You know what I mean? So I had to kind of, for lack of a better term, dumb down what I'm trying to explain and become very detail oriented as far as explaining concepts, as far as explaining plays, where you're supposed to be, how to be more instinctive on things and not to play like robots, and then to be disciplined enough to run a play all the way through, or to listen to what I'm saying when it's the last second, the last 5 seconds of a game, and Bates and I are trying to implement a play that we haven't ran. So it's just being patient, being able to teach, and then just making sure that they understand different concepts.
Yeah. And how do you implement how you want your guards to be? Because you played on teams where you could have averaged 50, but you would made it to where I'm getting everybody involved. I'm gonna get mine. And sometimes you even held back to for the benefit of the team to make your players better, your teammates better. How do you implement that into your guards for because a lot of times everybody trying to score, shoot threes, and that really ain't basketball for real.
So I think me is trying to pour over a winning attitude. And that's what I was. I was a very, very, very sore loser. And that's a bad thing to be, but it's also a good thing to be too. But when I was younger, I was a sore loser that would take his ball and go home. Everybody else go home. I'll go back up to the court and get some more shots up and then come back the next day so that I would win. So it was just trying to make sure that they understood like winning is the most important. And if you're winning, then people get able to see you more, see you play more, play longer when you're talking about state tournaments and things of that nature. But it doesn't matter if you have 35 in the loss, but if you have 17 in a win, he had everybody involved. He had a solid game, and now people can pinpoint what you did well in order for your team to win.
Yeah. How would you describe your playing style when you played?
It's a combination of things. Like you said, if I wanted to, I could probably go get 30, but that just was not my personality. My personality is a very giving, a very unselfish, a very team oriented type person. So my playing style was I try to get everybody else involved first, and then I get mine at the end. But there was a couple games where I'm like, you know what, I'm getting mine now, and playing your Bulldogs is one of them. Like, nah, like them was bragging rights, man. Like there's no way that I'm gonna let Scott beat me. So I'm coming out and I'm being aggressive. I'm looking for my shot early. But it was a lot of games where our offense and our style of play, how Heinz input everything, it was a way for me to get involved. You know what I'm saying? Get everybody involved and then to get my points gradually. You know what I mean? So I would say the combination. I played point guard. I played the two guard. I would post up a little bit. Very athletic. I could shoot. Could handle the ball. So I think I was a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you played a lot of big basketball, like you said. Even the story you told me how you were playing in big tournaments, big leagues.
Yeah.
So you go there, you go to St. John's, you at Ohio State playing around all these big stadiums. That didn't never phase you to where you were like, man, the moment's too big. How do you get your players and even your daughter to, be able to know the moment's not too big, no matter where you at, no matter who's in the stands, who team you playing, to be ready and to, allow their game to just be able to show forth?
I think with a lot of athletes, I think the size of the venue, it affects you when you get there. But once that ball is thrown up, or once they shoot the gun for you to run your track meet, or once that ball is kicked off, it becomes smaller. It becomes more focused. It becomes more detail oriented because you already have your assignment and you know what you're supposed to do. So I think the crowd kind of like fades out. It definitely fades out because I've had some games like I remember a city championship my junior year at UT, and we're playing Scott, and the fans is giving me the business. I'm a sellout. I'm all type of stuff, and then it's adults that's yelling that stuff too in the stands, and I caught myself at the free throw line hearing it and looking at it, and I'm like, it was offensive because I'm like, my people is really doing this, but it brought out a competitive edge in me that I didn't know I had because I'm like, it's motivation now. They don't mean it like this. They're trying to get me out of my game. So that's why I went on. I lost my first city championship as a freshman, but then I won 3 straight after that. So I was like, you know what? I can't let the crowd and I can't let the moment be too bigger than what my talent level is because I know I put in the work to be able to be in this moment. So, and I took that all the way through college.
Yeah. How did you adjust and not let the greats that were before you, Calvin Ramsey, the Dennis Hobson, the Jim Jackson, how did you not allow the pressure or for people to be looking at you like, what you gonna do next? Like you the next one, but to be yourself and play your game?
It never was pressure because I had relationships with those guys. I had relationships with Dennis Hobson and Todd Mitchell and Jim Jackson and Melvin Newbern. I'm in the 6th grade, and my 6th grade coach, Robert Caldwell, he has me. Melvin comes in town, and I don't know if they're playing TU or somebody, but he takes me to the University of Toledo to work out with Melvin. So I worked out with Melvin a couple of times when he was with the Pistons. I worked out with Jimmy when he was in the league. I worked out with Dennis. I played on the summer league team my freshman year going into college with Dennis in the Worthington League. So those guys it never was pressure because they treated me like a little brother. And I still have relationships with those guys to this day. So I never had pressure to fill Jim's shoes or to fill Melvin's shoes or anybody's shoes. I was Neshaun Coleman. And I never got that comparison. I did hear a little bit, he's the next Jim Jackson. And then by fault, I wore 22 in high school. I was planning on wearing 32, but I had a senior who had that number and he wasn't giving it up because I was a freshman. So I ended up wearing 22 because that fit. Not even fathoming that Jimmy wore 22 before I did. You know what I'm saying? So it just was, it's never been pressure. It's always been love. They've always showed me love, man. And so it's Toledo. Toledo has showed me so much love. It don't make no sense.
Yeah. Well, I gotta ask you this. What's your favorite Mr. Caldwell line?
I'll be 49 years or so this year. I'll be 49. So I still remember this. We be in practice, me and Lamar Rivers. So that me and Lamar, like that's he's been my brother since I moved.
Shout out to Lamar.
We be in practice. He say, you got to have dedication and motivation and determination if you want to get somewhere and be somebody. So that was 37 years ago, man. And that's still stuck in my head. And that's still principles that I live by. Because if you don't have that, how are you going to succeed? If you're not dedicated to something and you're not determined, and if that doesn't bring motivation for you to do something, how can you ever accomplish or be great at anything?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he was my first coach, Robert Caldwell, love him to death. He was my first coach, and he probably is one of the main reasons why I end up staying in Toledo. So shout out to Coach Caldwell. He's touched a lot of lives, man. and he knows what he means to me. He knows what he means to me.
He's like, if you don't stand for nothing, you fall for anything. Y'all gotta listen to me.
Or
Y'all being hard-headed. I ain't telling you it's raining outside. You go outside, somebody peeing off the roof.
so you got just as many as I do, right?
Yeah, definitely.
He was great, man. He took me my sixth grade year to the state championship the year that Scott won it with John White.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? With Scoop, with Sean Scratchings, with Kashif Phillips. Like them was all my, even though I didn't go to Scott, them was all my dudes, man. They treated me like a little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what is the state of basketball in your opinion now, and how has it changed? What's the good and what's the bad?
Are we talking college? Are we talking high school?
We can talk high school, then we go college.
High school, the good thing that is different from my era is that every position is interchangeable. Like when I played, if you were 6'9", you was in the post. Jermaine Tate played in the post. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you were 5'10", you were a point guard. I was 6'3", so I played the point, but most of the times I was a shooting guard because everything was individualized by height. Now it's so interchangeable, man. It's such a beautiful thing that you can have a 6'8" point guard. You can have a 6'4" guard who can post up that strong. So it's amazing how it's evolved. The bad thing is that there's such a sense of entitlement in high school that you have to build strong relationships with your players because everybody and their mom and dad expects them to go D1 or expects them to go to the league. When in actuality, it's okay to go D2. It's okay to play D3 because there's a small percentage of people in the world, athletes in the world, that get to that. So we're talking percentages. You're talking maybe 3%, 2 to 3% play at Division I, Division II, Division III, or NAIA. The rest of the 98% that are playing basketball, they're done their senior year. So wherever your child is at, if they don't get any better, then that's where they're at. That's where God meant them to be. So you can't live through your kids when you're doing this thing, man. So I would say that in college, the bad thing I feel is the transfer portal. I feel like there should be some sort of restrictions on how many times you can transfer, what you got to do when you transfer. When I was playing, you had to sit out. I don't believe in that. I don't think that, it could be a bad situation that you just didn't know was going to turn into this. So you should be able to opt out, after that year or two, and you're just not happy. But to transfer 3 and 4 times while you're in college, I don't think that that's good. The good thing I appreciate and I love is the NIL. Like that is, people have different perspectives on the NIL. I don't. I think these young men and women should get what they can. You know what I mean? And you got these old school coaches. Well, they're professionals now because we're paying them. No, you should have been paying. It's times people don't know this, but it's times when I was in college that my dad was injured. He hurt his back at his second job. So now we're looking at, I don't got no money for a haircut. I can't go to a coach to get no money. They're not giving me no money. I'm having to call my grandmother in Wisconsin. Hey, Grandma, can you send me $50 so I can get a haircut? You know what I mean? Because I'm living on campus. I'm not getting an off-campus check. So everything is meal plan and this, that, and the other, and there's no money. And I'm having to wait. You know what I mean? So this NIL and them getting paid, get every penny that you can because you deserve it. You out here, you're flying in the middle of the night coming back to go to class. You're treated like a professional athlete because you're working and you're playing and you're doing the things that a professional athlete does. Why not get some money for it? So I'm all for NIL. I'm all for these young people getting paid. I feel like somebody owed me some money because I should have got a couple dollars when I played somehow, some way. But no, I think that's the best thing that could have happened is that these young people fought and really understood how to fight to get paid for their name, image, and likeness.
Yeah. Did you always know that you were going to go into being a coach? Did you see it? Was it something happened? Did somebody need some help? What inspired you to move into your coaching career?
I really don't know, man. So I started coaching AAU, and I was coaching developmental AAU. And I liked it. It was cool. It was something to do. It's in the barbershop. Mike Bates and Jason Bates are good. We all go. We were going to the same barber. I ain't going to the barber no more, but we always go to the same barber. And Mike says, "Hey Snake," because everybody call me Snake in Toledo. He's like, "Hey Snake, I'm about to get this job, man. I want you to come coach." I'm like, "Coach where?" He's like, "High school." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, just hit me up, man. Hit me up." Not knowing that he really was going to hit me up. So he called me, went to interview for it, did all the background checks and stuff, passed all that. And I started doing it. And when you're coaching, it's a lot different than when you're playing. So what I had to do is I had to separate Neshaun Coleman, the player, and turn into Neshaun Coleman, the coach. Because like I said, I'm coaching like I'm a player. So it's very competitive. And I'm like, okay, luckily I had some really strong minded and tough young men that understood. And I had to explain, like, everything I'm telling you comes from a high major D1 basketball player who's done it all their life. So it's not a disrespect. It's not demeaning. This comes from a strong, deep love for you and for the game. So I'm just teaching you the way that I was taught. So, like I said, about 5 years into it, I had to scale it back and really coach the talent level that I had at their level, because some of the things that I was expecting, they just, no knock to the kids that I had at the time, but they just weren't at the level that I was expecting them to be at, because I only knew this level. So it was an adjustment process, needless to say. It was a big adjustment process. I never knew that I was going to be a coach. Never knew that. Never had any aspirations or anything to be a coach. So with it evolving the way that it's evolved and me going into my 20th season, you couldn't have paid me to believe that I was going to be doing this long, man. On top of coaching 8th grade girls on the AAU circuit.
Yeah. And shout out to Mike Chalk, man, my bro, man. That's how I keep and be informed to him and let me know what's going on down there and how y'all doing and just all the amazing things that y'all doing, that y'all putting into the young players.
Man, he came on later on, but he has, when I tell you, he got the love and the hunger for every aspect of it, as far as the teaching and the relationship building, and not to mention the X and O part of the game. Like, he's destined to have his own program. Yeah. Destined to it. But it's just going to be the babies, his own babies, and trying to figure out the time. But I think Mike is becoming a very, very, very good coach. Well, and I'll say that about the whole coaching staff. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're all very, very good. They're all attentive. They all are good in what they do, but they're all willing to learn too. So.
And how was it? Did you adjust how you were taught growing up playing the game with your daughter when you seen she was ready? When did you know she was going to be ready, and how did you handle the approach on how you handle her?
That was trial and error. That wasn't always a good situation, because I see something in my daughter that probably nobody else sees. I see the development in stages, and I have a timeline in my head of how I wanted her to progress. But God does things at His own time, so it's going at a different level. I started out real hard. On her. Expectations was real high because I saw it, and she would show me so many flashes of things that it reminded me of me. So I'm like, okay, I got to push this. I got to push it. And instead of feeding it, pouring into it, and recognizing I can't point out all the things she did wrong, because I'm thinking it's correction, but now it's messing with her mental, and it's affecting our relationship. So I had to go back and basically have a conversation with her and talk to her about, how do you want me to coach you? Is this too tough? Is this too rough? Am I too easy? We have signs and looks. If I'm on her too hard, she give me a look, and I know I can back off. You know what I'm saying? But we also have a look. If she's not doing what she needs to do, I don't have to yell. I'm like, okay, you need to pick it up. So it's been a learning process. I'm doing it from a standpoint because she told me this is what she wants to do. I'm not doing it from a standpoint where I'm living through her. And that's the difference between me. I'm pushing because you told me numerous times that I want to go to college. I want to play high D1. I want to go to Ohio State. I want to go to Texas. Oh, this girl, I want to go here. Oh, they got her ranked here. She not better than me. And I'm like, okay, well, I gotta push you then. This is what you have to do to get here. This is what you have to do to get to this stage. So it became at a young fourth and fifth grade age, it became rough. I had to scale it back a lot. But now that she's in eighth grade going into the ninth grade, it's still the same, but I'm presenting it different. The approach is different. The approach is it's calmer. You know what I mean? It's more passion behind it rather than not necessarily anger, but aggressiveness. Like, you need to do this now. It's like, no, okay, let's take a step back. Let's dissect it. Let me show you what you're doing wrong. Let's correct it. And then I have a village. Like, people know that I know a lot of people in Columbus and Toledo. I got a lot of good friends that have played basketball. So I don't do it all. Mike Bates does some. Menchaca does some. My boy Cody Ballard, who's the head of our grassroots girls AAU program, he does it. Vale Sims does some. Like there's a bunch of people. I got my boy Kenny. He's the coach on our staff, but he's the big brother to her, the uncle to her. You know, my boy Taylor, he's the uncle to her. So they're the ones that come and love on her when I'm on her. They're the ones that'll, I got her, Snake. Watch out, I got her, and they'll work with her, and I'll lead a gym. You know what I'm saying? So she has so many people that is touching her in different aspects that I didn't even have. I had a bunch of people, but I didn't have a bunch of people who were very knowledgeable about the game. And then she's a great kid. And I'm not just saying that because she's my daughter. She is a fantastic young lady. So she has that magnetic personality where people are drawn to her. So once you talk to her, once you get to know her, you want to help her. So they're just jumping in because it's people that I trust and I know they're on the same lines of what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to teach and where she's trying to go. So she has a village of people, man, that love her to death. So I don't do it by myself.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. You just were named assistant coach of the year. Is this your first award? How did this come about? How did it make you feel? Because I know you a selfless person. Like, you don't do it for all the attention and all like that. So when it was given to you, was it like, man, it's just people appreciating and they really see it? Was it something that you took that? Because I know just by it being an award, you got many awards, you got, all type of accolades. So how was that for you, being that you're that selfless person?
Man, I'm gonna tell you how it was presented to me. And this is by Mike Bates. This is what he said. He said, Snake, you got the assistant coach of the year. He's like, I know you don't care about it, but you got it. And he knows, like, I don't do this for accolades. Yeah. Like, I want every player that I coach to be able to experience what that orange ball can do for you, if that's what you want to do. Man, it's taken me to different countries. It's taken me to different cities. It's paid for my education. It's done a lot. It's taken pressure off of my family. It's developed relationships with people and put me in rooms with people that I don't know if I would have been playing basketball, that I would have been able to get into. It's done so much for my life, man. That's why I have so much respect for it. So the accolade is great. I love being acknowledged by my peers, but it's not what I do it for. So I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. But you'll never hear me say, yeah, I was a assistant coach of the year. Or you'll never hear me say that, yeah, I was inducted into Toledo Basketball Hall of Fame, or my high school Hall of Fame. That's not what I'm in it for. Like, I appreciate everybody acknowledging what I did and my body of work, because I worked my ass off, man. I don't know if I can cuss, but I worked my ass off, to get where I'm at and to get to Ohio State and to start varsity as a freshman at St. John. I worked hard when training wasn't a thing. I didn't pay nobody to work me out. I did a lot of it on my own. And then when some of the older guys were in town, They called me, Neshaun, come train with me, and I would learn and steal things from them. But I got better because I put in the work, and I promise you, man, me going back to Racine, Wisconsin in the summers for 2, 3 months and going to the gym twice a day and working out with my older cousin Scott, because everybody got, if you don't have a brother, everybody has an older cousin that's like their brother. I got an older cousin that's my big brother, and getting beat up by him playing in the gym. My godfather put me. I played in the Chrysler Jeep League in the 6th grade with grown men. You know what I mean? And my godfather, before, because you play every team twice, before every game, the first go around, he'd tell them, like, listen, just don't hurt him. Like, treat him like a man, but don't hurt him. And when I tell you, I'm playing against grown men who work 12-hour shifts at Chrysler, and I'm holding my own. So it was a problem. When I tell you I worked, man, I truly worked at my craft. And that's the only thing I'm trying to get my daughter to do, is understand, like, you got to work at it if you want it. Nothing's going to be given to you. And I'm not letting you get anything off my name. What you get is what you get. What you earn is what you earn. If you want to put the work in, I'll work till my hands bleed. But, hey, you got to put in the work too. So, yeah.
What's your coaching philosophy, and how do you connect it with today's players?
I guess my coaching philosophy would start out with being relationships. Like, I think back when I played, you had a relationship with your coach, and then that coach knew that you would run through the wall for him. So just developing relationships. I think as far as the coaching aspect of it, I like getting up and down. I like pushing the basketball. If I can, and I tell my girls all the time, and my boys, if we can go through a game and not run a play because we making layups and we fast breaking, then that's a great game. But also knowing where you're supposed to be, memorizing plays, understanding that the game is played 90% up here and 10% down. So it's instinctive. It's being able to read people. It's being able to understand different defenses that you're playing against. It's being able to play against different defenses and knowing where you can score and knowing your ability. So it's my philosophy is you pull out everything that a kid has and you make the best of it.
Yeah. What do you think separates a good player versus a great player?
Work ethic. I mean, that's it. I mean, if you put in the work, you'll get the results. Now, talent has a lot to do with it too, because some people are just more talented than others. But I got a saying that I say, hard work beats talent if talent don't work hard. So you could be the most talented person in the world, but if you sit on the couch every day and you're not working on your craft, then the person that's working hard will catch you. So that's the big thing.
Yeah. What have been the most rewarding moment in your coaching thus far with the players?
The most rewarding, man, I'm telling you, I've been blessed because I've had a lot of great moments, from state championship games to Final Fours. But I guess the most rewarding would be seeing my players go to college every year, whether it's going to play basketball, whether it's just going to school, to know that they're going to school or going into a trade or whatever they're doing, that they're doing something successful. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're touching these young men and making sure they become better men and better women. Because now I'm coaching girls too. So I'm trying to develop on the girl side strong young women, because they have to be. Sooner or later, in 4 years, my daughter's going to be out of my house. So I have 4 years to instill a bunch of stuff in her. And then I got to continue. I got to continue to plant these seeds and then pour the water on the flower when she's gone. So just to see my young men be successful, to see, this is crazy, to see some of my young men become fathers, to see some of my young men coach their own sons now. It's a bunch of blessings that we get in coaching that people on the outside just think that we're just doing X and O's, when we're actually pouring into and teaching and making sure these young men have a good foundation, especially the ones that don't have that male figure in the home. Yeah. So you got it's a lot of responsibility that we take if you're a good coach, because you're not just a coach, you know. So
and how do you How important is it for the high school athletes with recruiting? How do you handle it? Is AAU the right measures to get them recruited by the colleges, or what steps do they need to take?
I think AAU is probably the biggest because if you look at it from this aspect, you have what 24 games in the regular season, 22 games in the regular season. There's a lot of dead periods during the winter because the coaches are coaching their own teams. So if you're a college coach at Syracuse and you want to come see me play, but then you got 10 other kids that's in my class that you want to see play too, are you going to go to those 10 different cities, or are you going to go to Indianapolis to the EYBL session where you can see all 10 at one time?
Yeah.
So that's what you do. It's the numbers game. It's demographic. It's traveling. So AAU it's a necessity. It's a necessity. If this whole social media and how AAU is done was done back when I was playing, it would have been crazy because we had maybe one or two true AAU tournaments, and then it was the Nike All American Camp or as ABCD Camp, which was Adidas, or you go to 5-star. So those were the exposure places where coaches got a chance to see you play. So AAU is definitely needed.
Yeah. Do you see yourself coaching in college? Do you want to coach at the next level, or do you want to just stay where you at right now?
Absolutely not. I have no desire whatsoever to coach in college. And the reason being is I am a person that I don't like a lot of change. So the way college is, if you're not, you constantly could be moving. If you're not a head coach, you get fired. Your head coach gets fired, then you get fired, and now you got to look for another job. I just never liked the instability of being a college coach. So I have no desire. I have no desire to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your goals for your team this year, as far as when y'all head to the AAU?
Just for them to get better, for them to understand that every chance we get a chance to get on the floor, we got to improve. My goal is it's always been when they got to this level that when they go to their high school to have a chance to play or start varsity as freshmen. I think just to really compete, I think I have a talented group, man. I got a real talented group, and they want to work. They come to practice, every Tuesday and Thursday. They come to training on Sundays. They're committed. Their parents are committed. Their parents trust me, which is a beautiful thing because I may not have the same problems that other AAU teams and other AAU coaches have because my parents trust me and they know that at the end of the day, I got their best child's interest. I got their interest at heart. So I'm not going to do anything, and I'm not that dad, that quote unquote dad coach who is going to make sure everything runs through his daughter and she gets 50 shots a game and things of that nature. And my daughter ain't doing what she's supposed to do. She next to me. Like she earns everything she gets. If she's not one of the best, one of the top 5 players, she's not starting. And she knows that. So that's what pushes her. But I think just to have the goal of improvement, being competitive, making sure that they get what they need from me, and then winning will come.
Yeah. Last couple questions. I'm gonna get you out of here.
Okay.
All said and done, what do you want your legacy to be as a coach?
That's crazy because I never thought about having a legacy as a player or as a coach. So it's a real difficult question for me. I guess I want my legacy to be that I poured everything that I had into my players. And that's basketball wise, that's life wise, that's being a mentor, that's being a father figure, whatever they looked at me as. That's what I want to be. I'm hoping that none of my players ever said that I wasn't a good person or I wasn't a good coach or I didn't care. And none of them could ever say that, from giving them meals, taking them to eat, giving them bus fare to get home, giving them rides home, whatever it takes. That's what I have to do. You know what I mean? And I pride myself on being that person to be able to help and mentor and pour in. So that's what I want my legacy to be. Not I could care less about the wins and losses and the accolades. It's okay when I'm out of here and people are talking about me, man, he was a great person. Like he could hoop, but he was an even better person because he was always there. He always had a smile on his face. He never had anything bad to say about anybody. So that's what I want.
Yeah. Whatever comes to your heart, can you give words of encouragement to the youth, to the young hoopers, whether it's male or female?
Be disciplined. Make sure you are conscious of everything that you do because somebody's watching. Get your grades. Stay out of trouble. Make sure you're a leader and not a follower. And sometimes you either got to change your friends or you got to change your friends. And what that means is sometimes you have to change your friends to thinking with the same mindset that you have and the goals that you have, or you got to change the group of friends that you're being around because they can lead you the wrong way. So believe in God, trust in God. That I'm a big person that is very into faith. And I know I wouldn't be in this position and my daughter wouldn't be in the position that she's in if it wasn't for God. So it's always been God, family, then sports. So that's the big thing.
Yeah, and I need to drop from you. Say your first last name and you coaching in purpose.
Neshaun Coleman from Racine, Wisconsin, by way of Toledo, Ohio, now in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm coaching with a purpose.
Definitely.
Love it. Thank you so much for having me, bro. Like, again, I apologize for waiting this long, man. I'm glad we finally got it in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing this because you had another one of my young ladies on your show, Kendall, Teamer Kendall.
Oh yeah. I got to get her back on. Yeah.
So,
I love her family too.
Yeah. She just joined our team this year.
Okay.
Knowing her mom Stephanie and her dad Craig for a while, and it's crazy because her uncle Stephanie's uncle, rest in peace, Kai Tisdale. He used to be my mentor in high school. So it's crazy things come full circle because now I'm able to help his great niece. So it's beautiful, man. So I appreciate everything you do. And this is a good platform. Keep doing it. Keep reaching out to these young people because they need to be heard. And it feels good. It feels good to, I know my daughter is looking forward to it. And it feels good because this is her first interview. She's never been here before.
Wow.
So you're the first for a lot of things, man. So I appreciate you, staying on me and trust me, I wasn't not trying to like stall you out and like that. I'm just glad that, we got here safely and do it because time permitted. So I appreciate you a lot, man. Appreciate
you too. And then y'all both got the secret weapon because y'all got God and y'all allowing that to be known. That's when she said that in the inside, that made my heart jump because I love when the young athletes know where their strength is coming from because you're going to go through different stuff. As long as you know you got God with you, then you good, especially even as an athlete.
Yep. And I'm going to tell you, I owe that to her because I knew I always had God, but sometimes he goes to the back. He's not in the forefront. She brought him back in the forefront of my life. And it was crazy because one of my coworkers sent me a Bible app. And I'm like, Nate, I knew she had listened to the Bible and was reading the Bible. I'm like, Nate, here, this is an app. She was like, Dad, I already got it. So like she started her journey towards God. I already had a relationship, but her relationship was stronger than mine, and I'm older. So she did that pushed me back towards my faith and bringing it to the forefront of my life. So I owe that to her.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only coach, the legend, Neshaun Coleman.
It's funny being called a legend.